When we moved into the old house on the edge of town, I didn't think much of the backyard. It was just a patch of overgrown grass, some weeds, and an ancient oak tree that leaned a little too much to the left. Mom said it was full of potential, and Dad just grunted something about fixing the fence before the dog next door finds its way in again. I was bored that summer, 13 years old, no friends in the neighborhood yet, and nothing to do. So I grabbed a rusty shovel from the shed and started digging. At first, I just wanted to make a hole big enough to bury some old toys, but something about the soil kept me going. It wasn't just dirt, it was soft, dark, almost like it was encouraging me. The deeper I went, the easier it got. No rocks, no roots, just this weird warm soil. I dug for 3 days. The hole was deep enough that I had to use a rope ladder to climb in and out. My parents didn't seem to care, and I didn't tell them how deep it really was. On the 4th day, I hit something. It wasn't a rock, it wasn't metal, it was soft. Not like soil, like skin. I stopped digging. My fingers brushed against the surface, and it gave slightly like pressing your thumb into a balloon. I leaned in closer, and that's when I felt it. A breath. Warm air pulsing out slowly from the thing below. Rhythmic. Alive. I scrambled out of the hole so fast I scraped my knees raw. I stood at the edge, panting, staring into the dark, waiting for something, anything, to move. But it didn't. It just kept breathing. That night I couldn't sleep. I swore I heard something moving in the yard. A dragging sound, like something heavy shifting beneath the surface. The next morning the hole was deeper. I didn't dig it. I swear I didn't. I didn't go near the hole that day, or the next, but I watched it. From the upstairs window I could see the edge of the pit. The grass around it had started to die, turning yellow then brittle brown. Flies hovered there now, not the normal kind. These were bigger, slower. I saw one land on the windowsill and its wings pulsed like it was breathing too. The breathing hadn't stopped. If anything, it was louder. At night, I could hear it through my closed window. A low, deep rhythm. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Always steady, always there. I told my dad. He didn't even look up from the newspaper. Just said something like, "Stop trying to scare your mother." I didn't tell my mother. That Friday, I stayed up late watching the hole. Around midnight, the wind died completely. The air turned heavy like the whole backyard was holding its breath. Then I saw it. Movement. Not something climbing out. Not something crawling. The soil itself shifted, rising and falling. Slow and deliberate, like the whole yard was alive. No, not alive. Like something underneath was dreaming, and it was waking up. I backed away from the window. My heart was thudding so hard it hurt. I told myself not to go back out there. I told myself to lock the doors, turn on the lights, and wait until morning. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. At 2:47 a.m., I took the flashlight from my closet and went outside. The air was warm. Too warm for the middle of the night. The grass crunched under my feet, dry and dead now even farther from the hole. I stood at the edge and looked down. It had changed. The walls of the hole were no longer dirt. They were smooth, lined with something dark and wet. It wasn't mud. I pointed the flashlight down and saw it. A vein. It pulsed. That's when the ground trembled beneath me just slightly. Like it was adjusting, like it knew I was there. A soft sound echoed from the bottom of the pit like a sigh. Then, a voice, whispering. Not in words I understood, not in a voice I could place. It was low and rough and wet, but it was speaking, not to me. To something else, something deeper. I turned to run, but the grass wasn't grass anymore. I turned to run, but the grass wasn't grass anymore. It writhed beneath my feet like tangled hair, wet and warm, grabbing at my ankles. I screamed, dropping the flashlight, and tried to rip myself free. The light spun wildly across the backyard, and for a split second, it caught something at the edge of the pit. A shape, tall, thin, watching. I don't remember how I got free. I just remember running, sprinting back into the house, slamming the door behind me and locking every window. I curled up in my closet, shaking, trying to drown out the whispering that somehow made it through the walls. I didn't sleep. The breathing didn't stop. In the morning, I begged my parents to leave. They said I was being dramatic, that it was just a phase. My dad finally went out back to prove a point. He didn't come back. We called the police. They searched the yard, said there was nothing unusual, just a filled-in hole and some patchy grass. I tried to tell them it wasn't just a hole. I tried to dig again, show them where it was. But the soil had turned to stone. I couldn't even make a dent. That night, I sat by my window again, and I waited. At exactly 2:47 a.m., the breathing returned. Slow, heavy, patient. The grass below began to stir again, and someone stepped into the light of the moon. It wore my father's face, but its eyes were all wrong. I don't go into the backyard anymore. No one does, but I still hear it. Every night, still breathing. Still waiting. And sometimes, it calls my name.